After all the streams, all the hardware analysis videos that I've done, and my discussion on the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2, I finally had time to sit down and play Mario Kart World by myself to collect my thoughts, and I've got my review. The big question that's floating around in the social sphere about the Nintendo Switch 2, I think, boils down to what is a killer app for the launch of a game system. And I did a whole video talking about all the launches and all of the various killer apps that came along with hardware along the way. And I think a lot of people have been scratching their heads about why Nintendo didn't come out with a new Mario game in 3D, like a Super Mario Odyssey 2 or something like that, with the launch of this machine. And they instead chose to focus on Mario Kart World as their launch game. And I think, personally, that this was a great decision for Nintendo because it is a game that is going to appeal to a mass amount of people. And whether or not this game launched day and date with Nintendo Switch 2, let's say they flipped Donkey Kong Bonanza as the launch title and Mario Kart World was going to come out a month later, this game would have been thought of as a launch title regardless. People would associate this game as being part of the Nintendo Switch 2 generation. And I think that's exactly what happened with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It became a 70 million unit selling game, I think, on the Nintendo Switch 1, and maybe add on another 8 or 9 million for the Wii U version of the game as well. So it's one of the most successful video games of all time, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And I obviously think that factored in the decision to put Mario Kart World sort of in the box with the Switch 2 if you bought the package that it comes as a code, at least in the box. But is the game fun? Is the game good? Is it satisfying? And the only answer to that, I think, is hell yes. I think you have to approach this game with the idea that it's a long haul. Just like what they did with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Nintendo is going to support this game for a long time to come, and you're going to be playing this game for a long time to come. And so that makes it a little bit difficult to kind of analyze this thing as a launch product and to just sort of give your holistic opinion on how this game succeeds. Because I can tell you, it delivers tons of different variety in terms of its tracks. So you're racing through snow, you're racing through water, you're flying a plane for a bit. As you're racing through air, there are cool little tunnels and shortcuts, and you've got all these new jump abilities that allow you to race on the side of walls and then flip and fly and do some two-wheeling stunt driving for a bit as well. And of course, there are 24 racers on each of these tracks, and so it gets incredibly chaotic all the way through, but especially at the beginning, it's just absolute carnage at the beginning of these races. And there are all these customizable elements that you can pick up along the way for each of the different racers. And honestly, that was a really nice surprise for me because it made me want to try out racing with all of the different characters. I wanted to collect all the costumes for each of the different characters. And I have always found in Mario Kart games that I've sort of mained a character or two and stuck with them. And in this game, it really is fun to kind of mix and match and try different karts and to keep unlocking all the karts. I think all the Mario Kart games do a pretty good job at sort of doling out the rewards, but I really like the reward system in this. I also enjoy some of the new weaponry that you get in this game, like chucking hammers at your opponents is pretty fun. I like that every once in a while a Magic Koopa will fly by and transform all of the characters on the race. I think that's pretty fun. I like the new ice flower attacks in the game as well, and there are a bunch of other new items in here as well. There's just a lot to kind of mine and dig into, and it's rich and it's incredibly rewarding just sort of playing the game as we always play these Mario Kart experiences, going into the Grand Prix and getting a collection of 4 different races and trying to navigate through this enhanced chaotic experience with all of these different karts on the track at the same time, and way more shortcuts, way more freedom in experimentation and taking risks and trying to find some beautiful lines that will shortcut your way to victory, which is really damn cool. I like all of that. And one thing I notice about these Grand Prix races is that because it's a world map, it's an open world map that you can explore in free roam, there is a little bit more connectivity between one race to the other. So it's a little less like you're globe-trotting, let's say in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, especially when they started to give you all the DLC tracks. It really felt like you were jetting all over the place with lots of different variety. You'll be in a Paris track for a second, you'll be in a Vancouver track, you'll be in something from the Super Nintendo. This feels like there's a little more cohesion between the tracks, and because that's happening, it's more of a gradual change from one sort of environment type to the next environment type. It's just a different approach to Mario Kart because we've always had this sort of globe-trotting kind of vibe with the games where you didn't know the surprises of the next level. Now, that happens a little bit more in real time. You'll see transitions in the environment. You'll go from sort of a deserty area and suddenly there'll be trees, and then you'll climb up into a mountain or something like that. It just becomes a little tougher, I find, to remember the flow of how everything is going to go, and also to point out in your memory which of these tracks you like the most, because they all seem, and they are, connected to each other. So it's a free flow kind of roam. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to see a ton of variety. And I love things like racing and bombing over the water, and the waves are high and the rain is pelting you. I mean, it totally evokes Wave Race Nintendo. We need a new Wave Race game, come on! And that's crazy fun. I like the, slippy slidey dynamics, obviously, of racing in the snow and on the ice. I loved racing through Bowser's Castle, incredible. And I love the Rainbow Road track as well. It's an unbelievably cool conclusion to all the madness that you have survived. And so Grand Prix mode is really fun, and it definitely feels like connective tissue to what we have known in previous Mario Kart games, for sure, but it is a little bit of a different vibe in your mind, trying to grapple with moving from one location to the other, and there's a flow. Like, you'll race through a desert, and then you'll be in a market that's in a desert, and you're like, have I just raced this track already? And I found myself thinking that quite a bit as I was racing around sort of the familiar landscape, but that's really just kind of scraping the surface of the gameplay. You can get a versus mode going, where you can kind of select a bunch of different tracks as well, and you can set up teams, so you can race alongside as part of a team with other people, and then the collection of points that you accumulate along the way is how you win the game. So it's not just winning the race, it's how the rest of your team does as well. I thought that was pretty freaking fun. Of course, there's battle mode, so you can shoot at each other with balloons, or you can race for coins, and that's ridiculously fun as well. But the reason why this game is an absolute masterpiece and an amazing launch experience for Nintendo Switch 2 is Knockout Tour. This is an incredible mode, and it's a mode that has been borrowed from other racing experiences where you have to cross a sort of checkpoint line, and the amount of cars that can pass that line shrinks as the races continue. That very notion of all of these tracks being connected into one long flow, it's almost like when you were racing in SSX3, where you went from the top of the mountain to the bottom of the mountain and everything was connected. It's very similar to that kind of vibe with Knockout Tour, because you race along a whole path, and so you're going to go for track after track after track, and there are 6 different kind of checkpoints along the way, and you're losing players the whole way through. And this is crazy fun, whether you play it locally with some family members or friends, whether you jump online with some friends, or whether you go total anonymous and just jump online and sort of pit your skills against the rest of the world. It's only been a couple of weeks that Mario Kart World has been out there, but people are freaking incredible at this game. They know the shortcuts, they know where to bounce off of the walls, they know how to zip onto 2 wheels at the right point and sort of get all the boosts, and you just see them whipping, zipping ahead of you. And it is really, really challenging to win in Knockout Tour. It is absolutely intense, and it is so freaking fun and addictive. I mean, it is the epitome of one more time. Let's play that one more time. One more again. Let's go. Let's try it one more time. And it will pummel you and it will humble you. But God, it is amazing. It is incredible to have all of this information streamed at you, all of this insanely detailed world building that goes into each of these different tracks in Mario Kart World is all coming at you, plus all the skills of all of these different players that you're pitted against in online play. It's still super fun when you play it offline as well against the CPU, and you can set the difficulty depending on how much you want to be embarrassed by the computer. But it is just so addictive and such the standout experience in Mario Kart World. And then the other big element here is that because everything is interconnected and it's called World, you have a free roam experience as well. And this is about sort of isolating different power buttons and going on these little mini missions, collecting blue coins, making a bunch of jumps appropriately. I was playing as Wario and acrobatically balancing on 2 wheels across these flowers that were taking me up higher and higher into the sky and jumping through hoops. You get little stamps at the end of those. There are also question blocks that you activate, and peach coins that you pick up along the way, and lots of little coin piles and things. But it doesn't feel anywhere near as intense or, filled with life and activity as just racing the regular races, whether you're in Grand Prix mode or battle mode, or especially in Knockout Tour mode. When you're in free roam, it's pretty chill. It's really, I think, just meant to kind of get the lay of the land. It's also a good way to get to know the tracks and to look around for shortcuts and things like that. And there's lots of little surprises surprises and little rewards that you will find by sort of peeking around. But it is one to kind of take your time in. But the thing that makes me think that free roam is sort of the gateway to a whole hell of a lot more is that Nintendo, I think, has got a massive DLC plan for this game. They've really crafted so much environment. You know, it's all based on sort of little magic pop-ups and the ability to kind of escalate with idea and imagination. And I think they're going to throw in all kind. I don't know, and I can't judge the game based on what I think Nintendo has got cooking. But based on how they over-delivered with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and how that game just kept selling and selling and selling and thrilling and entertaining people year after year, I mean, we still play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and I'm sure we're going to go back to it after we want to take a little break from Mario Kart World. But I think Nintendo is definitely going to be looking at where they can extend Mario Kart World, and I'm excited to see where that goes. I'm also excited to continue playing with my family and to keep getting beat by my kid. You know, my kid grew up with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and we used to kind of take it a little bit easy on her when she started, and now she kills us. She kills my wife and I. She comes in first, and she kind of stomps around, and yeah, you know, like she gets into it, and it's been amazing to kind of have this game there and watch her skills just grow and grow. And so she's already been kicking our butts in Mario Kart World, and I'm excited to kind of keep that challenge alive as well. But I think this game is crazy fun. I don't think it's as lose yourself for 200 hours and say goodbye to everybody that you know in your life like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was for Nintendo Switch 1, which was an incredible experience. It was also a little bit isolating, although my daughter joined me for much of that experience, and I did play a lot with Johnny Millennium as well. This is really meant to socialize the experience. It's fun to play by yourself, but it escalates into magic fun if you play with other people. That's what this game is all about. And it's also a showcase for game chat as well, being able to pop in your camera and to, you know, chat with each other as you're playing the game and to challenge each other and smack talking and just have fun with this in a group. I think this was just incredibly smart on Nintendo's part. I think that this is the Mario Kart World generation for Nintendo, and we're going to be talking about this game for years and years to come. I think it is a killer app for Nintendo Switch 2. I also think there's a lot of familiarity in the experience. I don't know if the Grand Prix mode is as satisfying and as continuously surprising as Grand Prix modes in previous Mario Kart games have been, especially with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But that Knockout Tour mode, man, oh my God, that is just sensational. So yes, this is a killer app. Is it my favorite Mario Kart game? I still think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is, but I think that's really about all of the extra goodies that Nintendo delivered over the years. If I was just looking at the base version of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Mario Kart World, this would take it, and I can't wait to see where Nintendo takes this game from here. So I'm going to give Mario Kart World as a launch experience a 9 out of 10.